And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. Should probably really work on the lighting in my bedroom or the studio to enhance the lighting in here, but whatever. We're here. We got ourselves another week of serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans, not to be confused with the so-called serious streaming for serious hockey fans. Good luck with that. So, kicking things off where we left off with the Washington Capitals, we had the game against the Colorado Avalanche on November 16th, this past Friday. The lineup for the Capitals was Alex Ovechkin with Lars Eller and Tom Wilson, Jacob Vrana with Nicholas Backstrom and Andre Burakovsky, Chandler Stevenson with Travis Boyd and Brett Connolly, Dmitry Yaskin with Nick Dowden and Devontae Smith-Pelly. On defense, they had Michael Kempney with Matt Niskanen, Dmitry Orlov with John Carlson, Christian Jews with Madison Bowie, and Phoenix Copley in goal. Every time, every episode. And then for Colorado, they had Gabriel Landeskog with Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Tyson Jost with Alexander Kerfoot and Colin Wilson, Sheldon Dries with Carl Soderberg, and Matt Calvert, Sven Ardrigento with Vladislav Kamenev and Gabriel Bork, Samuel Girard with Eric Johnson, Ian Cole with Tyson Berry, Mark Barbaro with Patrick Nemeth, with Philip Grubauer in goal. In the first period, it did not start off well for the Capitals as a minute 8 into the game, Carl Soderberg scored his 7th for the season from Tyson Jost and Tyson Berry. Then at 14:07, Sheldon Dries would get 2 minutes for slashing. Actually, that actually works. Just put the tablet right there. Wait a minute. At the end of the first period, it would be Colorado 1, Washington nothing. Shots were 13-9 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs were 15-5 in favor of Colorado. Hits were 7-6 in favor of Colorado, and on the power play, the Caps were 0 for 1. After a very rocky start to the game, the Capitals were able to settle in, kind of. The Avalanche did a very good job of playing between the blue lines, and if the Capitals did get into the zone, forced the Capitals' shots to the outside and allowed Phil Grubauer to see everything. The Capitals need to use their speed to force the Avalanche to make some mistakes. The Avalanche are playing with a swarm mentality and are utilizing picks to create issues for the Capitals. Also, the Capitals need to do a much better job in the faceoff circle as the Avalanche are killing them in that department. And lastly, the Capitals need to generate some more scoring opportunities in the danger zones. They only had 2 in the first period. Then, 31 seconds into the period, Nicholas Backstrom would get called for hooking. And then at 6:20, Gabriel Bork would get 2 minutes for tripping. At 8:55, Devontae Smith-Pelly would tie the game with his 3rd of the season from Chandler Stevenson and Travis Boyd. Then at 18:29, Alex Ovechkin would score his 13th of the season from Nicholas Backstrom and Tom Wilson to give the Capitals a 2-1 lead going into the second intermission. Shots were 25-18 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs were 23-22 in favor of Colorado. Hits were 12-9 in favor of the Capitals. And on the power play, the Caps were 0 for 2 and Colorado was 0 for 1. This was a much better period for the Capitals. They outshot the Avalanche, and they also dominated in the face-off circle. Capitals also generated better scoring chances and were able to score the only 2 goals of the period as a result. The Capitals need to continue playing a solid defensive game and continue to contain the Avalanche's speed. Capitals also need to play the majority of the game in Colorado's zone and not troll into their own zone like we've seen quite a bit this season so far. In the third period at 6:16, Lars Eller would get 2 minutes for interference. And then at 17:16, Colin Wilson would tie the game for the Avalanche with his 5th of the season from Matt Calvert and Ian Cole. And then at 18:51, Ian Cole would get 2 minutes for interference. Thus, going into overtime, 22 seconds in on the power play, Nicholas Backstrom would score his 5th of the season from John Carlson and Tom Wilson. At the end of overtime, the Capitals would win the game 3-2. Shots were 29-26. Faceoffs were 34-31 in favor of Colorado. Shots were in favor of the Caps. Hits were 17-11 in favor of the Capitals. And on the power play, the Capitals were 1 for 3, and Colorado was 0 for 2. This was a huge win for the Capitals despite being outshot in the third period. Capitals defense only gave up 1 goal and needed only 1 shot to win it in overtime. The Capitals get 2 needed days off of rest before they take on the Montreal Canadiens. And with that rest, we will see if they get back Txht, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Braden Holtby from injuries. And then speaking of the Canadiens, the Capitals would end their 4-game road trip in Montreal last night. For the Capitals, their lineup did not change at all. However, Braden Holtby would be back, backing up Phoenix Copley, while Evgeny Kuznetsov and Txht would both still remain out of the lineup. For the Canadiens, they had Thomas Tatar with Philip Deneau and Brendan Gallagher, Jonathan Drouin with Max Domi and Andrew Shaw, Kenny Agostino with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Arturi Lehkonen, Nicholas Deslauriers with Matthew Pekka and Giles Hudden, Jordy Ben with Jeff Petrie, David Schlemko with Noah Juleson, and Mike Riley with Victor Met with Carey Price in goal. In the first period, the Canadiens would get the first goal of the game at 9:20 when Mike Riley would get his second of the season from Matthew Pekka. Then at 13:16, Brett Connolly would respond for the Capitals, getting an assist from John Carlson. And then at 14:40, Alex Ovechkin would score his 14th of the season from Tom Wilson and Dmitry Orlov. Then at 17:34, Kenny Agostino would get 2 minutes for roughing. At the same time, Matt Niskanen would get 4 minutes for roughing. 2 of those minutes would be served by Andrei Burakovsky. The Capitals would go into the first intermission with a 2-1 lead. However, Montreal outshot the Capitals 16-8 in the first period. Faceoffs were 17-13 in favor of the Caps. Hits were even at 8 apiece, and Montreal had the lone power play of the period. For the Capitals started a little shaky, but as it seemed the Capitals were settling in, the Canadiens would get the first goal of the game and then take over on the shot counter. However, after the Canadiens took the 1-0 lead, the Capitals would score 2 goals on 3 shots to take the 2-1 lead going into the second period. The Capitals need to do a much better job of neutralizing the Canadian speed. Also, the Capitals were even with the Canadiens in shots until the Canadiens scored, and then they doubled up the Capitals 18-8. The Capitals will need to cut down on the number of shooting chances for the Canadiens and generate more for themselves. And ladies and gentlemen, deja vu would strike. 20 seconds into the second period, Brendan Gallagher would strike yet again. His 10th of the season from Philip Deneau and Jeff Petrie. And then the Capitals would get a penalty shortly thereafter. 52 seconds, Madison Ballard would be called for interference, which on that power play at 1:08, Jeff Petrie would score his 2nd of the season from Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Max Domi. And then at 1:35, Kenny Agostino would score his 1st of the season from Arturi Lehkonen and Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Give them a 4-2 lead, which would then prompt the Capitals to pull Phoenix Copley and put in Braden Holtby. Then at 6:35, Lars Eller would get a double minor for high sticking. At 13:20, Nicholas Backstrom would score his 6th of the season from Christian Jews and Madison Bowie. And then at 18:48, both Max Domi and Dmitry Orlov both get 5-minute majors for fighting. And at 19:10, Philip Deneau would get 2 minutes for slashing. At the end of the second period, the Montreal would be up 4-3. Shots were 34-19 in favor of Montreal. Faceoffs were 29-23 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 18-15 in favor of the Caps. Montreal was 1 for 4. And the Capitals' first power play was in progress. This was not a great period for the Capitals. They gave up 3 goals in the first minute 35 and were dominated for the most part by the Canadiens. The second half of the period was better, but still it wasn't good enough. The Capitals need to play smart and stay out of the penalty box. The game is not going their way, and they can't let the Canadiens get under their skin. The Capitals need to flip the script and take it to the Canadiens and force them to take some penalties to get the Capitals' power play on the ice for some opportunities. Then in the third period, 52 seconds in, Jordy Ben would get 2 minutes for tripping, and on that power play 10 seconds later at 1:02, Alex Ovechkin would score his 15th of the season from John Carlson and Tom Wilson. And then later on, you would have a moment where Carey Price just robbed Ovechkin of the potential hat trick. End of the third, it would be tied 4-4. Shots were 41-33 in favor of Montreal. Faceoffs were 37-33 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 27-20 in favor of the Caps. Power play 1 for 2 for the Capitals and 1 for 4 for the Canadians. And then in overtime at 3:34, Lars Eller would score his 4th of the season from Jacob Brunner and Michael Kempney to win it for the Caps 5-4. In a very up and down game for the Capitals, they were able to end this 4-game road trip with a 3-1 record. And that is despite losing both TJ Oshie and Evgeny Kuznetsov to injury and also not having Braden Holtby for the majority of the trip as well. The Capitals, hand down, had their best period in the third period and were able to claw back after giving up 3 goals in the second period. The Capitals return home tomorrow to take on the struggling Chicago Blackhawks, who will have a slightly new look to them, being how they let go Joel Quenneville and now have Jeremy Colleton behind the bench for them. Drinking my soda. Alrighty. Now moving on to NW. Actually, let me check something. No. I'll deal with that later. Then going into Saturday night in the NWHL, you had the Buffalo Beauts take on the Boston Pride. In this one, you would see the Boston Pride win 4-1 over the Beauts. The Pride would get goals from Jillian Dempsey in the first period, Gigi Marvin in the second period. Haley Skamora would score for the Beauts in the second period to give them their lone goal. And then Dempsey would score. Dempsey and Marvin would both score their second of the games in the third period to seal the deal for the Boston Pride. Nicole Hensley was in goal for the Beauts. She had 26 shots against, 22 saves for a .846 save percentage. And for the Pride, they had Katie Bird in goal. She faced 26 shots for 25 saves and a .962 save percentage. And then on Sunday, you had the Connecticut Whale visiting the Metropolitan Riveters, which this one we had a preview and a post-game recap written by our good buddy Shaggy, which you can see up on txhthockey.com. And in this one, the Connecticut Whale would sneak out the victory 2-1 over the Riveters. In the first period, you had Audra Richards and Katerina Morozova, can't speak tonight, score for the Riveters and Whale respectively to give it a 1-1 tie. And then in the last few minutes of the game, Shannon Doyle would score to give the Whale the 2-1 lead in the victory. In goal for the Whale was Miri Raisinen. She faced 28 shots for 27 saves of a .964 save percentage. And then for the Metropolitan Riveters, it was Katie Fitzgerald facing 20 shots with 18 saves for a .900 save percentage. Oh, I did the same game twice. Oops, hold on, give me a second. Technical difficulties. I'm missing a game here. Because there's 3 games during the weekend, and I thought I had all 3, but I mistakenly don't. But for more information on the NWHL, go to nwhlzone.com. That looks horrible in there. Let's not do that again. There we go. And that was the one we wanted. once we can get some of this live streaming stuff figured out, we'll have a little bit more consistency on this stuff with guests. And then on Sunday also, you had the Buffalo Beauts versus the Boston Pride again. This time a different outcome, as the Buffalo Beauts would beat the Boston Pride 5-2. Buffalo would get goals from Maddie Elia and Haley Skimura in the first period, and then the Pride would get a goal from Amanda Pelkey on the power play. And then in the second period, Maddie Elia will get her second of the game. And then Juliana Iafalo, the sister of Alex Iafalo, the LA King, would score in the second period for the Beauts. And then in the third period, Emily Falzer would score for the Beauts to get their fifth goal. And then Jillian Dempsey would score for the Boston Pride. Shannon Sabatos would be in goal for the Beauts. She faced 26 shots or 24 saves with a .923 save percentage. Katie Burt would be in goal for all 5 goals against. She faced 20 shots with 15 saves with a .750 save percentage. Next up, there is going to be one game this weekend. It will be on Sunday, November 25th, as the Connecticut Whale take on the Metropolitan Riveters at Barnabas Health Hockey House at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and I believe that is the game that will be put on Twitter. Again, more information. For more information, go to nwhl.zone for more on that. And then in the NWHL this past week, you had co-players of the week. The NWHL's explosive return to hockey this past weekend saw too much greatness to be limited to just one player of the week, so there are 2. So Haley Skimura of the Buffalo Beauts and Miri Raisinen of the Connecticut Whale, with their splendid performances that led to their selections of the Beta NWHL co-players of the week. For Skimura, the exceptional forward whose development continues to warrant national team attention, she has been on Sunday. She scored a goal and had 3 assists in the Beauts' 5-2 win in Boston. Skimura leads the NWHL in scoring with 5 goals and 7 assists with 12 points. For the rookie Raisinen, she has been spectacular all season, but in Newark on Sunday she shut the door so completely, resulted in her first career NWHL victory in the Whales' first win of the season, the 2-1 win over the defending Isabel Cup champions. Raisinen stopped 27-28 shots, with many of her saves followed by scenes of Riveters shaking their heads. For Raisinen, she will have another opportunity to take on the Riveters this upcoming Sunday at 2 p.m. Right? I'm going to go on a quick break real quick because I need it. Do I have segment things? No, I don't have any segment things. Alright, give me a quick break. I need to do something real fast. Give me 1 sec. And we are back. Sorry for that. I needed to take a quick moment to actually drink water and clear up my throat real quick, because it's not fun trying to do it on the show. So going on to NHL news and notes. We start off with Winnipeg Jets defenseman Josh Morrissey being fined $8,000 for $8,467.74, the maximum allowable under the CBA for unsportsmanlike conduct against Washington Capitals forward TJ Oshie during NHL game number 274 in Winnipeg on Wednesday, November 14th, the Department of Player Safety announced. The incident occurred at 18:35 of the third period. Exact Looks better. Exact same play that Mike Matheson did against Elias Pettersson. Mike Matheson got a penalty in that game. Morrissey got a penalty in that game. Matheson got 2 games because he's considered a repeat offender because he's been suspended before. Morrissey was suspended in the playoffs. Was not even looked at for a suspension. Exact same play, different result in penalties. Gotta call it consistent. You can't have the same thing happen and then just call it differently both times. You just can't. Alright, so last Thursday on the 15th, Braden Point netted his first NHL hat trick by scoring 3 times in a span of 91 seconds over the first and second periods, marking the 6th fastest 3 goals by a player in NHL history. Only one player in the league's expansion era since 1967-68 scored 3 goals faster than Point, and that was New York Islanders' Derek King, who scored 3 times in 78 seconds on October 15, 1991 versus Pittsburgh. The first NHL hat-trick and 4-point game for Anthony Beauvillier helped the Islanders erase a 2-goal deficit and remain undefeated against Metropolitan Division opponents this season. Beauvillier scored the 15th regular season hat-trick by an Islanders player against the Rangers, and first since John Tavares on October 15, 2011. Mike Hoffman established a franchise record by extending his point streak to 14 games, besting the previous mark of 15 set by Pavel Bure in 1990-2000. Hoffman is the longest such run in the NHL this season and marks the 3rd straight campaign to feature the feat in 2017-18. Taylor Hall, 19 games. Winnipeg, Patrick Laine, 15 games. In Colorado, Nathan McKinnon at 14 games. Penguins forward Matt Cullen has been fined $1,000 for a dangerous trip against Tampa Bay Lightning forward JT Miller during NHL game number 279 in Pittsburgh on Thursday, November 15th. The incident occurred at 19:47 of the first period. Cullen was assessed a minor penalty for tripping. I did not see the play, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a slew foot. And then also, immediately after that, Arizona Coyotes forward Josh Archibald has been suspended for 2 games without pay for an illegal check to the head of Nashville Predators forward Ryan Hartman during NHL game number 284 in Arizona on Thursday, November 15th. The incident occurred at 18:19 of the second period. Archibald was assessed a minor penalty for a legal check to the head. Under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement and based on his average annual salary, Archibald will forfeit $7,258.06. Kuznetsov was illegally hit in the head and no penalty and no hearing. So again, more inconsistency. And I saw the Archibald hit, and that was definitely a purposeful headshot. Let's see here. Kings goaltender Calvin Peterson made 34 saves through 65 minutes and turned aside 2 shootout attempts to win the first start of his NHL career. Peterson, a 5th-round pick of the Sabres in the 2013 NHL draft, signed with the Kings on July 1st. 2017, he played 3 seasons at the University of Notre Dame, approximately 100 miles from the United Center in sight of the 2019 Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic this coming New Year's Day. Also, the Los Angeles Kings unveiled their 3rd jersey, which they brought back their 50th anniversary one. The Tampa Bay Lightning jumped out to a 5-1 lead in the 3rd period, led by a pair of goals from Braden Point, before the Philadelphia Flyers rallied for 4 consecutive 3rd period tallies to force overtime. Anthony Cirelli notched his first career overtime goal in the extra frame to give Tampa Bay the win and catapult the club to first place in the Eastern Conference and tie for the most points in the NHL. So that was a crazy one for Saturday night. The Lightning became the 6th team in NHL history to relinquish a 4-goal lead in the third period and go on to win the game, and the first to do so since the Dallas Stars' 6-5 win versus Carolina on December 8, 2015. The Flyers, who scored 4 goals in a 6:04 span of the third period to force overtime, became the 9th team in NHL history to rally from a 4-goal deficit in the final 10 minutes of regulation to tie the game. Calle Jarnkrok and Cam Atkinson each scored 3 goals to improve their club's division-leading record to 14-5-1 and 12-6-2 respectively. Jarnkrok netted his first career hat trick while scoring a goal at even strength. Short-handed and on the power play, he became just the second player in Predators franchise history to record a hat trick in that fashion, joining Scott Walker from December 26, 2001 versus Colorado. Only six other players since 2013-14 have scored a hat trick that included even strength shorthand power play goal. That'd be Mark Jankowski, Colton Scoover, Michael Backlund, Derek Stepan, Steven Stamkos, and Antoine Vermette. Atkinson recorded the 5th 3-goal game of his career to tie Rick Nash for the most hat tricks in Blue Jackets franchise history. Atkinson achieved the feat in 68 less games than Nash, meaning 466 contests to Nash's 534. Right. Avalanche forward Mikko Rantanen collected 2 assists and scored with 1.3 seconds remaining in overtime to become the first player to eclipse the 30-point mark this season. Rantanen became the 8th different player in Avalanche Nordique's franchise history to reach the 30-point mark in their first 20-team games in the season, and first to do so since Peter Forsberg and Joe Sakic in 1996-97. The Carolina Hurricanes scored twice in the opening 30 seconds of their game against the New Jersey Devils, including 2 goals in a span of 8 seconds. Carolina became the 6th team in NHL history to score twice in the opening 30 seconds of a regular season game, a feat last achieved by San Jose on April 4th, 2017 versus Vancouver. Hurricanes captain Justin Williams scored his 99th career goal with Carolina, his second highest total with one franchise, which he had 103 with LA. He can become the 9th player in NHL history to score 100 or more career regular season goals in multiple franchises and capture at least one Stanley Cup with each of those clubs. And then on Monday, the 3 stars of the week were announced. Third star was center Joe Pavelski of the San Jose Sharks. Pavelski collected multiple points in all 3 of his games, sharing the league lead with 5 goals and placing third overall with 6 points to lift the Sharks into first place in the Pacific Division. He scored twice in a 5-4 victory against Nashville Predators, November 13th, and then posted a 1-goal, 1 assist for 2 points in a 5-3 loss to the Maple Leafs on November 15th, and added 2 more goals in a 4-0 win over the St. Louis Blues on November 17th. Second star goaltender Corey Crawford, the Chicago Blackhawks. Crawford went 2-0-1 with a 0.65 goals against average and a .980 save percentage, and 1 shutout to help the Blackhawks pick up points in all 4 of their contests. He denied all 28 shots he faced during his 24th career shutout in a 1-0 win against the St. Louis Blues on November 14th. And the first star right winger Cam Atkinson of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Atkinson paced the NHL in goals, points, and plus-minus in 3 games to help the Blue Jackets record a perfect week and extend their lead atop the Metropolitan Division. And then in yesterday's games, Johnny Gaudreau matched a franchise record for points in a period as the Flames scored 5 goals in the opening frame for the 14th time in franchise history en route to a victory. Gaudreau posted the 10th 4-point period since the club relocated to Calgary in 1980-81, and first since Olli Jokinen on February 14, 2011 at Colorado. Making his return to Ottawa, Mike Hoffman scored 1 of 7 Panthers goals to become the 6th different player in NHL history to record a point To record a point streak of at least 16 games in his first season with a franchise, Florida became the 18th different team to score at least 7 goals in a game in this season, bringing the total to 25 such performances overall. Alex Ovechkin scored his 30th and 31st career regular season goals against the Canadiens, including the tying marker 62 seconds into the third period that helped the Capitals lead Montreal to victory. Since he entered the league in 2005-2006, Ovechkin is the only NHL player to score at least 30 goals against Montreal. Jason Spezza is the only active player with more career goals against the Canadiens. 20-year-old Patrick Laine netted his 6th career hat trick, second this season, to propel the Jets to victory in their first of a 4-game road trip. Laine now trails only Wayne Gretzky for the most hat tricks by a player before his 21st birthday. He had 12 in 210 games before that age. Laine trails only Ilya Kovalchuk for the most hat tricks in Jets Thrashers franchise history. His 91 career goals rank second in the NHL since he entered the league in 2016-17, behind Alex Ovechkin, who had 97, who tallied just 2 of his 20 career hat tricks within his first 174 games. Alright. And then tonight, the only game that's happening is the Edmonton Oilers versus the San Jose Sharks, which brings up great conversation as last night around midnight, the St. Louis Blues fired Mike Yeo as their head coach and named former Washington Capital Craig Berube their interim head coach. So it'll be very interesting to see how things go there. In their press conference, Doug Armstrong said that they would be interviewing people for the position, but they would be giving Berube a fair shot at making the position his and his alone. Also, a little earlier this afternoon, the Edmonton Oilers relieved Todd McClellan of his duties as the head coach and hired Ken Hitchcock, which is very surprising because he retired. And so something tells me that this is more of a temporary fix until they can bring somebody else in. Hitchcock is going to be there to probably put in the structure, and then the next coach will take the reins and continue to build upon what Ken Hitchcock did. Because I can't see Hitchcock wanting to stay in that position for very long, personally, since he retired. And he'd been retired for a couple seasons too. And of course, obviously, everyone's going to be on Joel Quenneville watch. So we'll see what happens. So with that shorter episode, I wanted to do it a little earlier than normal, which is fine. So TXHThockey.com. Go read our articles. Armand and Steve have been putting up some good articles. I'm about to put up an article in the near future, in the next 600 years. I started as one thing, and now I'm going to morph it into something completely different. We got some good articles coming out. Check them out. Obviously, our game coverage of the Capitals and the Maple Leafs, those are the two main ones that we're doing right now. So yeah, TXHDhockey.com. Hit up all of our social media on there. Thanks for watching on Facebook. Just hit the like button and get notified when we go live. We will go back to Twitch. I'm just trying to fix a few things on our end over here. Trying to simulcast on both Facebook and Twitch is causing issues, so it's just best if we just stream on one service and then just do it the way we have in the last couple weeks. So with that, I'm Michael Lindebaum. This has been the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans, TXHDhockey.com, and next time we will see you on the ice.